What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We back on another episode of Rap and RnB, Ray. It's your boy Uncle Ray, and I got BleuJean in the building with me. What's up, what's up, what's up?
Hey y'all, it's BleuJean.
Cool. So BleuJean, we got you in the studio today to talk about a couple things, but we can't let it go on without talking about fashion. You know what I'm saying? Very fashionable, very put that on, you feel me?
You know.
And then it's the thing I like that's unique about it is it's like finding pieces. It's not just like I'm gonna go and put some stuff together and go grab it off Amazon. It's like, nah, I'm gonna discover it and then I'm gonna put it together. So how did you get into fashion? Like, what was your entry point into like becoming a fashionista?
I think my entry point with fashion came from my dad because I'm not gonna say he's a fashionista or whatever they call me and who is fashion. But he was really well dressed. Like that every day he wake up. If he not going to work, he gonna put it on. And I learned from him that like appearance matters. And I learned from my mom too though. I think she dresses a little more feminine when I lean more into the masculine side. So I'm really inspired by my dad, my granddad, and my mom. And it really started because I'm not gonna say we was poor growing up, but I mean we didn't have as much as everybody else. Of course they didn't make that known to us. But the places we shop were always like places that sold clothes for discount. And so it comes with having to figure out how to make those pieces your own, especially when you're not able to get what everybody else is wearing. So that kind of steered me towards crafting my own style because obviously I don't want to look like everybody else. I've always been like that. Never want to dress like anybody else, whether I'm dressed down or dressed up. It always has to have like my own flair on it. So it starts with, just not having the same amount of money as everybody else financially, and it kind of went from there. And I didn't start thrifting until probably like 10th or 12th grade year. They would do dress up days at school. And a lot of the days were like 90s days, 2000 days, whatever. And so for 90s day, I think that might have been like my very, very first time going to the thrift store and like, oh wow, maybe I should actually start going to the thrift store.
Okay.
Because they used to have City Thrift right there on 55 where they put the autos on it. They shouldn't have put that. They should have kept City Thrift, justice for thrift stores. But they had a City Thrift right there and it was so huge. Like you can go in there and just find anything. I don't necessarily go into the thrift store looking for pieces. I just go like, I'm trying to find something unique at the end of the day. I don't care really what it is. I just want to find something that's different. And so going to the thrift store started helping me like articulate the way I felt through fashion, and it kind of just trickled down from there.
Okay. So high school, 90s day, you put it on, you went to school. Was people like, I see how you did that? Did you get a lot of hype up, or was it more so just solely like you looking in the mirror like, it's different, like this got some uniqueness to it?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I would consider myself one of the best dressed from high school. Whether anybody voted for me or not, I knew. Because high school was all about popularity, and I wasn't necessarily the popular kid. I just hung around the popular people because of the friends that I was associated with. Like my friends would be considered like the popular people, quote unquote. And I was naturally quiet, so I would just be doing my own thing. And so, yeah, people would notice my style, like, dang, you got it on, you dress nice, this or that or whatever. But it mostly mattered to me. I really didn't care what anybody else was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's smooth. Okay, so then you grow up, you get into this real world, real bills, and then you was like, all right, this is going to be a way I kind of represent myself. Like, how did you kind of stay consistent and, I guess, not shifting into the corporate norms of, like, I need to be kind of straight line? Like, he was like, nah, I'm going to be artistic and I'm going to showcase that through fashion.
I think it came with me wanting to continue to grow as a person, whether that's through my style, emotionally, physically, whatever. It helps me grow once my style continues to grow with me and I'm able to discover different things that I like. Because things I was wearing, let's even say 5 years ago, I might not be wearing that now. And it shows my growth through the clothing. So I just stick with like making sure I'm growing with the clothing growing with me, and it's like genuinely who I am as a person in that moment.
Okay, so what would you hint to somebody that's struggling with? Well, let me segue that a different way. We doing styling now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
So I guess it still applies. How would you create style for somebody that's not necessarily been stylish? They just been kind of, they haven't found their lane yet.
Yeah.
They just put clothes on and get on about their day.
You just start with your favorite colors. Start with colors that you know you like to wear. Start with materials you know you like to see on yourself, patterns. And once it comes to like experimenting a little bit, add little things that you think about wearing. You're like, oh, that looks good on so-and-so. That looks good on this person. Maybe I should try that. Because there's nothing wrong with borrowing from other people's style to curate your own. Because that adds a little nuance, a little difference to it. And it just feels better when Well, actually, I'm gonna scratch that. Me particularly, personally, I tend to not look at other people's style. But like for somebody that's getting into it, it's nothing wrong with looking for inspiration and figuring out things to try, especially when you're not knowledgeable on fashion like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I do a little challenge with you real fast?
Let's challenge.
All right. So you know Jake.
From State Farm?
Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
My boy. So how would you, as a stylist, you know, if it's Jake from State Farm was like, you know what, I want to go into a space and still be Jake from State Farm, but I want people to look at me and be like, boy, he got a fit on.
Okay. With Jay from State Farm, because he has such a classic and iconic outfit, it would be kind of hard to want to change that. So I would probably stick with the red and khaki.
Okay.
And maybe change the type of khaki pants he wearing. Like not necessarily wearing slacks. He could wear cargos.
Okay.
He could wear capris, because capris kind of coming back in. You know, he could wear something with like a stripe or a polka dot or, you know, something like that. Adding patterns into it really helps. I like to add a hat to every outfit. I feel like that takes it somewhere, and it also gives it low-key a time period, because I'm really into like the paperboy hat. So like the 70s, 80s. It depends on, you know, what style are you going for, Jake? What is the theme of the party?
Okay.
So I think we'll start there, theme of the party, but also just adding on to the little bit that he already has, like his his red polo could be like a red button down, a long sleeve button down, silk, you know, something like that. You know, a black pinstripe pant, a khaki pinstripe pant, you know, and like a little black loafer or something like that could really elevate his style a little bit if you want to go to like the little Christmas party.
Okay. Jake that became Jaquan. Coming in slazzy.
You know, maybe his little gold chain, a little something on there, you know.
Okay. I like that. The fact that you was able to do that on the fly, that was dope.
Yeah.
I was seeing when you was talking to it, even when you was like polka dot. I'm like, dang, if Jake had a polka dot shirt on or something.
You know.
Then he went. And you get that in the long sleeve silk. He's just
Jake with a gender squad.
Missing a couple buttons.
You know, he's trying to get the ladies, trying to get the insurance paid, you know.
No, that's cool. We gonna bypass this hat you got on for the episode.
Not too much. I got this from Sweet Tea Vintage for everybody watching Sweet Tea Vintage on Instagram. She's local in Jackson. Get at her.
That's cool. She got Detroit hats too, because I done got one. So, you know.
Yeah, if y'all listen. I'm not into sports, y'all. This is just strictly for fashion, okay?
So, all right, but also you're a poet. So let's
Absolutely.
dabble into the poetry. What got you started into the poetry and, you know, got you writing, get your pen to work?
What initially got me started in writing was a need to be able to express myself and learn how to express myself just a little bit better, because expression was something that I struggled with growing up with the household that I lived in. I'm not gonna say we couldn't express ourselves fully, but like it was a lot of confrontation. So with confrontation, it comes with like a silence of the voice, and so it kind of grew harder to understand my own feelings when I've been silent so much. And so I was going through like a tough relationship, and we were getting into the breakup phase, and I didn't necessarily know how to handle them like breaking up with me, and knowing like how to tell them like how I felt about that, and us arguing and stuff. It was just a lot of not seeing eye to eye, rather us against each other rather than us against the problem. And so I ended up writing this poem. I wrote about 3 of them during the time period. This is in 2019. I wrote about 3 of them, and I didn't even actually let the person who they were about read them, but it really did help me understand like how I was feeling and the ups and downs of our relationship and how we got to the point we were at that point. And like I said, it came from a need to express. And then probably after 2019, the writing kind of stopped for me a little bit, just because life just was having its way with me. I'll put it like that. And so about 2022, I wanted to start songwriting actually. So I started back getting into writing by wanting to become a songwriter. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a little tough for me, because I feel like songwriting, well, I don't feel like that now, but I used to feel like songwriting was just so structured and so 1, 2, 3 ABC, it gotta be like this. And so I kind of moved away from that and got into poetry, because I was able to say what I wanted to say in a free form way, and it still made sense and it still felt like me. And so I started posting videos on Instagram, like poetry videos. If you go on scroll down to the end of my reels, you'll see where I posted like my first poetry video. And it started from me just wanting to just get back into art. Like I want to be creative again and low key get out of my depression because I was depressed for a good period of time and I just wanted to come out of that. And so I would start posting these videos on Instagram probably like once a week just to let people see like, hey, I make art now, I want support, blah blah blah. And it started off just like something simple like that. And then I had performed at Verbal Versus for the first time. And that made me realize I could be a performer. Like, this is kind of easy. Even I was working through the nerves. I was nervous. I was like, but this is actually really, really fun. And so from 2023 until now, I've kind of just been on and off with the poetry because I like to dibble and dabble in different avenues of art. But like poetry became a segue for me to get back into being in my creative space and being an artist. And I don't know, even nowadays, even though I don't write as much nowadays, it's still very, very important to me because now that I'm at the point that I am in my writing space, I can actually just let things flow out rather than trying to sit there and let me write about something today. I can just write now. It doesn't matter if I'm writing about this or that. I can just write.
Okay. All right. So, through poetry and performance, so it was actually started with you wanting to get into songwriting.
Yeah. I still do songwriting now, though. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not gonna get there yet. You're working there.
Okay.
So as a poet, in the performance aspect of it, like, how do you feel like that ties into you as, you know, the creativeness and being able to, in front of a crowd, project out what you were going through that you decided to write about?
I feel like it took me a long time to project my emotions of what the poem is about onto the crowd because maybe I didn't understand what I was writing about at the time, or maybe the nerves were just a little too high at the point to where I could actually let loose and let the emotions fly up. But what helped with that is knowing that I'm not in that position anymore. Like, I can allow myself to feel those emotions without actually taking them on myself. And I don't know, I just, when I get on stage and perform, I kind of, it's like Beyonce with Sasha Fierce. I kind of just let the alter ego take over, and whatever comes out of that, I'm just not responsible for at that point. Like, that's not even me. That's literally BleuJean on stage. That's not Disney.
Okay. BleuJean say she gonna take all the charges.
Let her lock her up. That's not me, y'all. I promise.
Okay. So, like, channeling the alter ego. Do you feel like that's a necessity, or is this just helps with the performance aspect?
It depends on what I'm speaking about in the poetry. Something a little more emotional, I probably want to channel my alter ego so that I won't feel those emotions personally and deep inside me. But I mean, if it's something fun and easy going, it's no need to necessarily channel any energy with that. That's just naturally how that's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been able to speak in a lot of different poetry nights and poetry settings. What would you prefer, like a large crowd or like niche and intimate?
I love an intimate space. I love to be able to look people in their eyes and know that they're listening to me, knowing that they feel their words. But I also love a big crowd, so people who don't know me get to know me. Okay. You know, they can understand me. Even if they haven't had a conversation with me, they can know me through my words.
All right. And then you decided to actually take your writing. I think it was your writing. You might have went in there and punched in and go into the studio. So, like, what was that? What made you say, all right, it's time to get this on some wax and, you know?
You know what? Funny enough, I had a homeboy who was a producer. His name's Cooley J. And he's from down here, but I think he stays in Texas now. But I used to go over to his house, and we would just mess around, get some beats off YouTube, and, like, make songs together, just because that was one way we would like to hang out. And so it really started there. It wasn't like, I need to record this. It was like, I want to have fun. I want to try something different. I'm always trying to try something different and put my little spin on something. So, I don't know. I just like having fun. That's really where that came from. I just want to do something at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay, but you went in there to have fun and came out with some good music, some good vibes. So, like, how does it feel to, like, have stuff on, you know? I mean, so you can record your poetry and you can put your poetry out. But, like, to be in the over a beat song space as an artist, like, how would you, not necessarily differentiate it, but, like, how does it feel hearing your song? Because I heard your song at an event, and I'm like, oh, no, wait a second. Like, you know, poetry is still poetry, but, like, this song got, like, it's a whole,
so, you know, it's a little vibe.
It's a party, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you feel it. Like, how does that feel? Like, what's the element of, how do you receive that as the artist? Differently or similarly?
I think the difference between me receiving like the music and the poetry and going out and like recording it, music is just a little bit more rewarding to me. It's a little bit more freeing because I can move in that space doing anything I want. Whereas poetry, it can become a little monotonous for me, like at times, which is why I think I steered away from it a little bit. But when I go back to music, I'm able to layer my voice this way. I'm able to make this sound like this. I'm able to lower the pitch. And you can do that with poetry, but sometimes that can kind of take the feeling away from it, and it can distract you from the words, because what's most important about poetry at the end of the day are the words that you're saying or writing, not you know. And when they hear it adds another element on top of it. But when it comes to music, 9 times out of 10, what's more important is like the execution of it all. You don't really necessarily have to be saying a whole bunch of anything, but if it sounds good, and I'm not saying all music should be like this, because I'm really against like all music just being a feeling. I'd rather us actually talk about something, but all music doesn't have to be like that. And so when it is like where it's more than a feeling, it's a little bit more impactful for me than rather a poem. And I don't know, it's just like I said, it's just more fun. And then I can do a lot of that type of stuff on my phone. You know, yeah, I do a lot of it on my phone.
All right. So recently you had a chance to be on a real big stage.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how that opportunity came about and how did it make you feel?
So I did get to perform at Pride this year, which is the biggest stage I've ever been on. And shout out to Mississippi Capitol Pride for giving us that opportunity. It was me, Sade, and DJ KND, part of the Groove Collective. That opportunity came about because I think Sade reached out to Mississippi Capitol Pride because they were looking for performers. So this had been in the works for over a year, I think, at this point. And so she reached out to them. They reached back with no hesitation, asked us our rates, blah, 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 got us locked in. And I actually didn't start practicing for Pride until probably like a month before. Because I told myself I wasn't going to do it last minute. I told myself. But when it came down to it, I just work better when things are a little bit more crunch time. Like I get a little bit more out of it, you know. And that's how that opportunity came about. It was just like reaching out to see. It's nothing wrong with reaching out for your next opportunity. Every opportunity doesn't have to be at your doorstep waiting for you. You can go out walk out the door and go get it. Okay. And so it was like that.
So in this performance, was it the music or was it poetry?
I did both. So most of it was poetry, spoken word, and I did a lot of them to music, you know, to set the tone a little bit and to help transition from poem to poem. And then at the end, I ended with Miss Fame, which is my house song. That I had. I recorded that probably I wrote that about 2 years ago. I was just chilling in my car writing it, and it just flowed out of me. And then at the end of that, I did this piece for Palestine that I feel like a lot of people, especially in Mississippi, we don't talk about. I guess, in my opinion, we don't talk about what's happening on the other side of the world enough. And so I ended up with a piece just to, you know, also show my support for people that aren't able to have this opportunity, able to express themselves in any type of way, not just through art. They're not even able to express themselves like that. So I thought it was important to add that in there.
Okay. So, in your performance, we talked about this off air. How did it make you feel to be on? Because you were on the grand stage.
Yeah.
Stage. This is a big festival, full sound system.
Yes.
30-foot.
It's crazy.
You know, risers. Like, what was that like to be on such a large scale stage?
I'm not gonna lie, Ray. It was so exhilarating. Like, I was like, bro, you ain't performed in so long. What? And so that made me. Well, I ain't gonna say it made me get back in that mode. It made me start reconsidering, do I want to start performing again? Which I do. I just don't want to do it in the capacity that I was doing it before. So I'm trying to think of a segue between me wanting to perform and me just low-key just wanting to be right now and just let things flow. But I do want to start back getting into performance. So that did help put that battery back in my back. It felt fulfilling. It felt validating for sure. It let me know, like, this is what you're supposed to do. And I love anything that makes me feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. And that was one of those moments.
Okay, is there anything that the people should be looking out for in the near future coming from BleuJean?
Let me talk to y'all directly. In the near future, you can expect a poetry album from BleuJean. You can expect a fashion show to showcase the styling. You can expect maybe a mini jewelry collection. Do not hold me on that one though. It's so many things you can expect from BleuJean. You know, of course, the styling and profiling, that's never gonna stop. I'm gonna do a lot more writing. I'm gonna do a lot more performing, and I'm just gonna be in the community a lot more and be on the lookout for a drive for a community closet that I do plan on starting. I do not have all the information about that yet, but be on the lookout.
Wrap it on up. Tell these people an encouraging word and let them know where they can follow you.
Words of encouragement, man. Whatever you want to do, and I'm a firm believer on this, you can do that regardless of the resources that you have, what people are saying in your ear, the amount of time you have. You can do it, and that's what consistency is. Just showing up every day, doing what you got to do to meet your goal. And let's help one another out. Let's truly build a community. Let's make sure we're all taking care of each other, especially in this time right now that is so important and vital that we are actually taking care of one another. And yeah, that's all I got to say. You can find me on Instagram at BC Destiny. You can check out everything on my page, including the other 2 pages that I have dedicated to my art.
What are the other 2 pages that you have?
Oh, they're in my bio, but it's BleuJean Dream. That's my poetry page. And my new page, Blue Styles, that is my styling page, solely dedicated to when I style other people and all that. So, and follow the Groove Collective on Instagram as well.
For sure, man. Definitely had to get them other page drops in there. They ain't got to go figure it out. We can tell them right here, right now.
You right.
So y'all make sure y'all go check her out. If you need some styling done, tap in with her. If you want to book her as a poet, as a musician, you can do that as well. But y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff, and just like that, we out.
We out.